going up here to Julian Assange. And
this is not about left or right in politics. We can unite on this. Please tell everybody that you know that they have to side with Assange and fight against the extradition. If they tell you, I would rather fight for the environment or against animal cruelty or gender equality, tell them. They are about to take every right away from you. You will not be able to fight for any other cause. We are talking about the fundamentals here. We must fight against the extradition. We must save Julian Assange.
so I grabbed that video quickly, and we've got Julian Assange in the back. That was created by Mills, I think.
It was, yeah.
Mills
Adelaide,
is the guy that did who did the posters on the truck, and that's Australians for Assange. And could you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, my name's Jodie. I'm from Adelaide for Assange. We're a small group of like-minded people trying to highlight the persecution of Julian Assange, trying to get that more out into the public so people will start kind of caring about what's going on with Julian Assange.
I'm going to move the thing closer to you because, as my Barry will tell me, I've got a booming voice and you've got a quiet one. So I'll move it there. Now, what was it about Assange that's got you fired up that you've set up a website and everything to basically you're active?
Well, really, I used to live in London. I think, like most Australians, we've heard about this Julian Assange story for some time.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked past the Ecuadorian embassy and I saw all the police there, and it's right near Harrods. So it's kind of a weird setup that to see so many police just surrounding this building. And I guess that really sparked my interest. Like, why would they spend so much money guarding this one Australian publisher in the middle of London? So, that was that. I went away on my merry day. And then I think it was about a year after that, he'd already been in there for 7 years, I think. He was getting pulled out. So that's when I really started thinking, what is going on? They're spending all this money keeping this Australian publisher, not a criminal, an Australian publisher, locked away in the Ecuadorian embassy in the heart of London. Millions of dollars has been spent on this. And then they've paid a lot of money to the Ecuadorian embassy to drop their asylum, and he just gets pulled out like a criminal.
Now, what do you think is going on?
Oh, he's been silenced. I mean, everyone knows that. He's a revolutionary publisher. He did things so differently than any other publisher or journalist has done before.
Would you call him an indie journalist? Because I think of him like an indie journalist.
Well,
like the king of indie journalism.
Yeah. Well, he's a publisher, an editor, a journalist. He's all these things. He's like I said, he's revolutionary. No one's done what Julian's done, and we live in a time where we really should have people giving us information in the way that Julian has. We're not there with printing presses anymore where someone can say, oh, don't put that in, John. We'll put this in, We should, as a mature democracy, and let's go on that round. As a mature democracy, you would think that you would allow adults who are part of that mature democracy to be able to comprehend and see how the world is actually, as opposed how it is sold to us. And I think that's where he shines. He's incredible.
This is linked up to what we can see happening. It's like a counterculture. That's the country we want to live in.
Absolutely.
Where we're treated as informed, intelligent adults, and we can make decisions for ourselves.
Yeah, and I think just what's been happening since Julian's been arrested, it just goes to show you that the censorship's become out of control. Censorship, virtual signaling, making sure people fit in a certain box. And if you fit in that box, you can't talk to someone that fits in that box. So they're really trying to get rid of open communication, critical thinking, and debate. Now,
we saw that on ABC the other day. Everyone's talking about Stan Grant. The young man stands up and does something about Russia, and he's told to leave.
Shut down.
He's told to leave the studio.
Yeah, completely. It's
and they would have vetted
crazy.
that. I mean, they would have vetted that. They would have actually, if you actually watch it, you know, there's no way they just let anyone on and ask a question. No way that's going to happen. So they knew that question was going to get asked, or that statement. And then Stan, at first he was okay, and then you sort of, if you watch it carefully, it's like he gets, someone says something like, get him off. I don't know. It's just if you watch it, and then you just, and whether he was told to do it, whether he did it himself, as a journalist, no integrity, none. You're not a journalist.
Yeah, thank you, guys. So as someone who comes from the Russian community here in Australia, I've been pretty outraged by the narrative created by our media depicting the Ukraine as the good guy and Russia as the bad guy. Believe it or not, there are a lot of Russians here and around the world that support what Putin is doing in the Ukraine, myself included. Since 2014, the Ukrainian government, together with Nazi groups like the Azov Battalion, have besieged the Russian populations in the Donbass, killing an estimated 13,000 people, according to the United Nations.
That's a lie. That's a lie.
Could I finish?
Just quickly finish, and then we'll come to that and put that to the panel.
So my question is, where was your outpouring of grief and concern for those thousands of mostly Russians?
Okay. When you mention the 13,000, the United Nations has listed 13,000.
And I believe the experts are right in suggesting that it is Putin that is quite often contriving these matters for his own purposes.
Sasha, people here have been talking about family who are suffering and people are dying. And I understand you wanted to ask your question about, is there some reasoning for this? But you supported what's happening, hearing that people are dying. And can I just say I'm just not comfortable with you being here? Could you please leave? I've been... It's really... No, Sasha, I'm sorry. You can ask a question. You can ask a question, but we cannot advocate violence. I should have asked you to leave then. It's been playing on my mind, and I'm sorry, but I have to ask you to leave, please.
Okay, could I...
No, please. Just out of respect. Please, we're not having the conversation, Sasha. We can't have people advocating violence. And I should have asked you to leave. It's been playing on my mind. I wanted to have a proper conversation about these things, but I have to ask you to leave. I'm really sorry. Okay, I'm sorry for that. But, these things happen. It's live television. You think about these things. It's really been troubling me that we can have a conversation and we can look at where the arguments are, and we can try to look at the sides of the argument. We can't have that, and I'm sorry.
No, you're not a journalist. You're a propaganda artist.
Absolutely. And coming from Stan Grant as well, I just thought, it's not good enough. It's just not good enough. It's not good at all. At all.
I know there's something you could never see George Negus doing.
Oh, not back in the day.
No, ever.
No, never.
He just couldn't.
No.
He would. He just wouldn't do it. He'd quit. And other ones like him. And now this is the world we live in. It's terrifying.
This is the problem. You've got someone just telling you the narrative of our society. Now, I don't want to be, put in bed and tucked in by the government and told everything's all right, Jodie, go to sleep. No, I want to know what the world's like. So then we can make informed decisions. We can move forward as a society, as a community, and make things better. But if you can't see what's going on, you can't address the issues that are underlying in your society.
It'd be interesting if we use the Nordic examples where they vote, they have referendums in the towns themselves, and the adults get together and talk about it, debate. And they come together and they vote and they move forward, and they're treated like the country is theirs, and they're all making decisions. They go with that. That's what I've heard it is on paper. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But here now it's the people are frightened of the government. Like this government's coming in now. You've had a landslide Labor government.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And you can go say what you think. There's the person I interviewed another person today. They didn't want to touch it, but we've had a landslide Labor government, and around, like in Queensland, WA, and Victoria, landslide governments literally become tyrannical.
I really worry. I mean, I saw what went on in Victoria. You can see what's happening in Western Australia. So am I happy that we have a Labor government? Not really. Was I happy with a Liberal one? Not really. I think it's about time that we really had other people to choose from. Independents.
Is it true that independents won 20% of the vote?
Yeah, they picked up a lot of votes.
Was that just the Greens, or actually?
No, independents as well. I don't know the full details, but no, a lot of independents really made a strong case and got voted in.
Wow, they did. And that's in the lower house?
Yes, I believe so, yeah.
So how many? 5?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't know, sorry.
That's all
I'm
right.
not across that.
That's all right. We ask Julian. Well, we can't
That's
ask Julian
right,
because he's locked up. He's just got married.
No, he's getting married.
Oh, he's getting married,
on the 23rd of March, so Wednesday.
Yeah.
It's going to be, he had to apply for that as well, and they put that off, and they've fought for that as well. So that's really good. So yes, on Wednesday, 23rd of March, Stella Morris and Julian Assange will be getting married at Belmarsh Prison.
Do you think they'll film it like the Princess Di wedding?
Oh yeah, probably. Yeah, he's going to be wearing a tartan though, which is amazing. From Vivienne Westwood, she's a really big advocate for Assange. So
wow. Can I ask too? I understand why our government doesn't want to touch him, because governments don't like the truth. But what I don't understand is why. Because I see in Melbourne, I see the group there. I mean, there's Mills, the boys with the truck, Wally and Forsh and Andrew. Then I see others out there that are really banging away, and there's money behind it, because you see that they've got the vans, they're all wrapped and stuff. But the people, the Australian people, don't care. It's literally
mind-blowing to me as well.
They don't care.
Do
you have any concept of why they don't? What can't fire them up that they can't see this guy's a hero?
Well, I think because he has been so tarnished. His reputation was absolutely ripped to shreds, and deliberately so. So people don't know the facts, and people don't want to, a lot of people just want to get on with their days. They've got mortgages, they work long hours, they've got children to look after. A lot of people are very busy. And if they have to go searching for something that's a little bit difficult, they'll rather just go, well, that guy's, he did that thing. They don't really investigate it. However, if you do investigate it, if you just scratch that itch, just the tiniest bit, and did some research on it, you find this whole world.
You're talking rabbit holes? Yeah,
a whole world of deception. And, and then you just keep going, and you just realize that it's abhorrent. What our governments are doing is actually terrible. They shouldn't even be in government, to be honest. I think they're despicable. I think it's terrible. You can't treat someone like that. You shouldn't be able to treat. If we are living in a free, democratic society,
which we aren't.
No, but if we are, because that's what we're sold, right? We're told we are.
Yeah.
If we're living in a free, democratic, open society, then why is Julian Assange in jail?
Yeah.
Yeah. And even other, people have asked the same questions, like Biden, for example. He's out championing that, he loves free speech. And yet he is pressing on with the Department of Justice to get Julian Assange extradited to.
So they want to throw him in jail forever.
Oh my God, that's exactly what they want to do.
As a sign to other anyone else.
That's all it's
don't
about.
ever do this.
Yeah. So we've just lost the appeal at the High Court. So which is really
was it closed?
Devastating. Was it closed?
Yeah, and was it closed? Was it one judge or was it a panel of judges?
I believe it was 3 judges, and then they just wrote a letter saying, sorry, no, not going to listen to your appeal.
Yeah. So they won't even listen to it?
No, so it's done. So apparently, not an expert, but apparently it has to go, now it's going to Priti Patel, who's the Home Secretary in Britain. She's a bit of a piece of work as well. So if she signs off on it, she's basically got his life in her hands. She can go, no, he's not to be extradited, or yes, he is to be extradited. I don't like the chances.
I don't like the chances.
No, don't like the chances. I mean, it would be the right thing to do, wouldn't it? Like, let guy go. I mean, 11 years of arbitrary
I guess
detention.
if they're let's logically look at it, remove the emotion, remove the integrity, and let's look at it like sociopaths. They're thinking, okay, if we let him go, other people are going to start blowing the whistle, and we've got all these secrets we're trying to hide.
Yeah.
And at the moment, I mean, look at the Pfizer documents coming out, and
Yes, that's
and yet
amazing.
the media's not touching them.
No.
The media doesn't touch them, and there's all these other things happening all around the world. Incredible. There's talking about death spikes and something about the U.S. Army, but apparently it's saying the spike in injuries and deaths is up.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Nothing about it in the media.
Nothing. And this is basically Julian Assange is the pinnacle of this. So basically, if we lose Julian Assange, we lose everything.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're into animal rights, like when you started, or anything. You've lost your ability for freedom of speech. If we lose freedom of speech, it's for everybody loses freedom of speech.
Do you think if we lose him, it'll be defended by others? Because what I've seen is that when they use violence to try snuff out a voice, which they do a lot, other voices spring up around it.
Yes. Well,
do you know what
that's
I mean?
the hope, right?
Yeah.
So I actually would love to see, everyone pick up the microphone and go and do this and really be courageous, be bold, be brave. You got Project Veritas that's doing it. You're touching on the subject. You've got the friendly Geordies.
So we're going to be driving around the truck with Julian on the front of the truck.
I'm very excited about that. That's amazing.
Right across the WA. He's going to love it.
Yeah. McGowan's going to see you coming.
There's actually a picture on Instagram. It looks like I've got a nuke heading at Charlotte. You just look it up. And I saw it this morning. But how are you protesting? Do you do it often? Is there an active group in Adelaide?
There is. We should be a little bit more consistent with it, but with the COVID and things like that, we
hard.
did go out we went out a good few times actually through COVID, but like trying to hand someone some information, it was like everyone was like head down. It's like, I'm going to catch COVID. Yeah, it was quite funny. Anyway, so yeah, we're doing something on this Wednesday for the wedding. So if you go on to Facebook, so Adelaide for Assange, just, if you want to come along, just let us know.
While you've got that there's not only Adelaide for Assange, Brisbane, Perth, Northern Territory, Northern Rivers, all have Facebook accounts and groups. And so we could cut this up and share it through.
Absolutely. And there's a few in Adelaide as well, which is really great. We've also got the Stay Human Project in Adelaide that does a really good job. I've met John up at Brisbane for Assange. So as we get to travel around a little bit more, I'm going to be going around and meeting other people that are like-minded, because we're all going for the same thing, basically, to raise awareness for Julian Assange, try and get pressure on our governments to stop the persecution and start actually, working for an Australian citizen, because he's an Australian citizen. He's not American.
And do you have any ideas on how to fire up the Australian people? Because at the moment, free speech is under an enormous attack.
Mm-hmm.
You literally, so many of my friends on this show, or just can't talk because they've got 90-day bans, 90-day Facebook bans. Yeah.
Oh wow.
And so they're all on Telegram in here. Facebook's very nice with us. They let us go, but it's the censorship is off the scale.
It's through the roof. I mean, if they can do it to the President of the United States, they can do it to anyone, right? So I mean, come on, they're going to take anyone off that's not shifting their narrative. They'll probably keep a little bit of controversy just so it looks like you can get different information, but really when it comes
maybe
to...
that's us.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how
I'm
I
not
survive.
saying that. I'm not saying that.
No one knows how we survive. Maybe that's it.
Yeah, no,
We're
that's
controlled opposition.
That's it. Oh
Yeah.
my God, don't say that.
Don't know.
You don't know. You don't know.
know.
It's crazy.
Now,
So,
you've never met him, have you? Have you met him?
no, I've met John. I've met
You
John
met the
Shipton.
father?
I have, yes.
What's he like?
He's absolutely lovely. Oh, and so humble and gracious. So we did a snap rally because we heard that Scott Morrison was in Adelaide. So we got all the troops, snap rally. We were all down there at the Hilton, and John flew over and he did a speech and he went around and thanked every single person that was there, which was, it was lovely. Yeah. Lovely man. Lots of integrity, courageous.
Was he active before this happened? Or was he or has he had to rise to the occasion?
I think that Julian's mum was doing a lot, and it just became too much. It was just so difficult for her to continue, and as it would. So I think that he's taken the mantle a little bit, and not a little bit, a lot, and really out there championing free speech and the plight of Julian Assange. Yeah. It's admirable, but I mean it's also his son, isn't it? So it's love. Love motivates you and makes you do whatever you need to do to get it done.
But when you were saying before that you feel like if he's squashed, if he's silenced, there's no hope. But there's you. You're here, and chances are, if they do send him to a jail in America and he vanishes, you're not going to shut up.
Oh, there's a whole lot of me's that won't shut up. I can guarantee you on that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Because we really passionately believe in the work of Julian Assange. You can't lock somebody away for being a journalist just because they choose to say things that you don't want them to choose to say. And I don't want to live in a world like that. And I certainly don't want to leave a world for my children and my grandchildren where, you just put on the TV and it's just rubbish and garbage.
Yeah.
We need to know what's happening on our planet. It's imperative.
We also, there's a real healing to the truth, even if it's an awful truth.
Absolutely.
You can move on.
No.
You can build on it.
Yeah.
At the moment, we're being forced to live in lies.
And everyone knows that.
And the lies are coming on, like Wendy, who's with she doesn't wear a mask. She went to the hairdressers here today.
Oh,
had to wear a mask and wearing it, had to hold it up as she's moving, had to show her exemption. They still have to wear a mask. She didn't have to put it on, but she had to wear it. Just silly stuff. And yet you go out to the food hall, they're all sitting there without masks eating. I mean, it's just nonsensical.
South Australia is something else, I have to say. I mean...
I know. Victoria has the vaccine.
You guys...
But you got a...
We got something going on here too.
Something crazy about the masks.
Yeah. Oh, crazy. This is how crazy it is. This is when they lost me completely. I don't wear the masks. But
oh, really?
No.
Did you get much trouble for that?
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I don't.
What
sometimes
sort of trouble?
I just walk out. Sometimes... Oh, well, my garden centre.
Have you always been like that, or are you motivated by Julian here?
No. I come from a long line of probably a family that we question everything, and we're our own people. I'm an adult. I'm a free human.
Yeah.
I'm having a human experience on the planet, and
that's
so
right.
I don't need to be told what to do, right?
No.
I'm a good human. I do good things.
No, that's exactly right.
I use my common sense, and if I'm like, hey, I'm not going to wear a mask because I don't believe I should, and I don't agree with it, and it's a mandate, right? So it's not a law. Anyway.
No, but that's the strange thing about a mandate. It's mandated. It's like this bizarre
thing. But a
thing.
mandate, in my understanding, is that you need to agree to it for it. Right, has to be a two-way agreement. Now, if I don't agree with a mandate,
it doesn't apply to me then.
It doesn't apply to me. So my funniest story about the masks. Every Sunday I go to the garden centre, right? I love gardening. And it's like a big shed. So you're not really walking into a closed environment. And I was just getting some potting mix, which was outside anyway. So I kind of just could tap my my card, and the girl, standing back like this, hand sanitizer, wouldn't let me in, asked me if I had my, I said, no, I don't wear the mask. And I said, I've got an exemption, like. And then she's like, can I see your exemption? And I'm like, well, no, I come here every Sunday. All I want is some body mix anyway. So she kicked me out, and I left. I thought, best just go, Jodes. So, yeah.
Well, Paul Oosterhouse, one of the doctors on our show, he's had the mask exemption tatted on the end of the finger.
Oh,
so if anybody wants to see it, he goes, yeah, it's right there.
Yeah.
Can you see it? It's right there.
But I mean, the audacity
That's
of actually someone asking you for a medical exemption as well. For
some 16-year-old snotty kid.
Yeah, for who they've got scared to the hilt. She's like got two masks on. She puts your things through, at an arm's length. So it's crazy.
We talk about this a lot, but there's going ahead. But just to finish up in these last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Moving ahead now that he's probably going to be going to America.
Well, we hope not.
Okay, but let's say it does. Is there a huge group defending him in America?
Yes, I think there is. I think if he got to America, if it got to that stage, there's
because
a lot
in
of
America,
people that
free speech in America is in their DNA.
That's right. But he will be going down to a court down in Virginia, and that's where all the jurors and stuff are all picked from, families that work for the CIA or the Department of Justice. So no one has ever been acquitted from this actual
really
court. Yeah. So, and then he'll be in one of these max prisons under SAMS, which is special administration measures, and that's why when at the last court she let him go, said that he was free, not to be extradited, because he was at fear of suicide because of his mental deterioration, his physical, because he's sick as well. He's got lung conditions.
Do you know what they are?
I don't know what his exact lung conditions are, but he's not well, and he hasn't been well for a very, very long time, and he's double jabbed. So they've jabbed him in jail because he's in jail, so they jab him. He's in solitary confinement for most of the time. During the COVID period, he wasn't seeing his families for a very, very, very long time. So it's very dire for Julian at the moment. So I don't think he'd make it if.
Obviously, we said something bad.
That was your fault. There you go.
And you just went, nah, boom,
down,
block them. Because we're actually on really good Wi-Fi tonight, so I've been doing like one bar.
And no way.
Yeah, it's been so slow, and that's why it's the beauty of coming here. But just as saying for ourselves now, I'm carrying Julian Assange around on the truck. Kret's doing the same. We both agreed. Reason we're doing it, man's a hero. Man's a hero of the people. And it's a crime that we're not standing up for him. So we're going to take his face around to join the face. We had the time and money. I think we'd put him on the back banner so people can see it because we've got the other two banners. But yeah, we are taking him around. He's going up the front of the truck, so hopefully it'll look good and laminated and keep going. Tomorrow we're heading up to the Clare Valley, that area, looking for somewhere to stay and getting a gathering together. Then we're heading to Port Pirie. We're going to be stopping there. There's a woman there. I don't know if you're watching. Her son took his life. I used to talk about her a lot with my play. I wanted to bring the play there, but I couldn't bring the play, so I'm turning up instead. And then we're off to Port Augusta, which they got a nickname for it. The truckies have a nickname for it. I can't remember what it is at the moment, but yeah. So anyways, then we're going to Port Augusta, and Kret and I are seriously thinking of leaving the other convoy in Port Augusta so they can have a break and heading up to Cooper Pedy, just to go up there because to see if Cooper Pedy has a stand in the park, even if they have a park. I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be a dusty one.
Maybe it's an underground park. Who knows?
That'd be fun.
And so we're seriously thinking of that before we drive across to Perth and probably get arrested. So anyway, but just in finishing, do you think the Americans might hold off of doing something really bad to him because they realize they will be creating a martyr. And in our lives, there is, in any struggle, there is nothing brighter than a martyr.
That's anyone's guess, really. I would hope that he gets. Look, I'm not actually even thinking about him going to America at this moment. I'm hoping that something will happen where either Priti Patel or it goes to another court and that people come to their senses. I'm hoping that anybody can write a letter, get involved, go out to your marches, get onto any of the Assange pages. If you're like me, just contact me. We've got lots of stuff that other people can do.
And it's Adelaide for Assange.
Adelaide for Assange, that's correct.
The Facebook page.
But my real hope is that people will be inspired by Julian, and that we'll get more people using this new technologies to get information out there. And if you are in a job where something's not great's happening, then, be a whistleblower, go for it. I mean, come
Absolutely.
on, stand up, because ultimately it's your decisions and the choices you make that are going to carve the way to the future of our planet.
Yeah.
And we either say nothing and we keep our heads down and just,
Well, that makes us slaves to whatever destiny they give us.
Absolutely.
If we live in the truth, live in the truth,
True.
we're the masters of our own destiny. Even
That's
if we
correct.
fail, we're still the masters of our own destiny. It's different.
Yeah.
And
people have to be brave.
yeah.
People have to be brave and actually believe, in that they have a voice. And I think that's probably the biggest thing, is maybe people don't feel like they've got a voice, or they're just one person.
You said before, she said before she came on, she said, I'm nervous. I'll be so nervous. I won't want to say it. I'll forget everything. But I have to say, I'm interviewing lots of people.
Yeah. Most
people are going to be, I got nothing. It's like our society has basically been teaching them, without them even realizing, you're dumb, you're worthless, you're stupid, you've got nothing worth hearing.
It's called education.
And then they speak.
Yeah.
The standouts were 3 young men in Portland. Tarkin, I think, was one. Damien, I think of the other one. Brandon. And then another lovely young man, and Armenian, I can't remember your name, but because it was an Armenian, but it was a beautiful name. All of them brave, articulate, beautiful, caring, deep thinking.
And
I
that's
love
what
them.
you need.
And they're out there, and they are. And I'll say this, I wrote this in a piece today. I don't know if there is a God, but if there is, he gave you 5 senses and not only your intelligence, but a deep-rooted intelligence, which is your intuition. Now, he sent you to this plane, or God sent you to this plane, maybe. And when you die, I really believe he's going to bring you up and go, what did you think of the world?
Yeah.
What was your impression? Who did you become? And the way to do that is to just be you. And at the moment, we have a government who is wanting you to groupthink.
Yeah.
And that's not freedom. People around the world have been risking their lives to come to Australia because pre-COVID in Australia, even if people thought you were nuts, you were allowed to be nuts. You were free to be nuts. You were one of our nuts. You were a mixed nuts. But you had the freedom to be it. Now they're removing that freedom, and you all have to think alike or pretend to think alike. That's called living in a lie. And the soul cannot survive in lies. It needs the truth to breathe. Julian Assange is a champion of the truth. He might make your days uncomfortable, but that's it. So look at that. That's a great picture. Mills, you're a star.
Mills.
You're a star, Mills. I love you. Anyway, amen. I just saw someone, Pat Kane, say amen. Amen itself, I believe. And thank you. This is our host for tonight. We're going to have some dinner now, and we'll be heading off tomorrow, hopefully with our sticker. And we'll get that put on in the Flinders Ranges. This person there is going to put it on professionally rather than us, because we're just going to smudge it. And Julian will look like one of those dogs with all the wrinkles. Yeah. So we're not going to do it. Thank you all for coming on. And we shall see you tomorrow, hopefully, if we have broadband.
Thank you very much.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. Good night.